29th. Now you have a couple choices today. I'm choosing something and taking my own spin on it. You choose what you like. You can either do lemon cream pie today, but we've been doing so much dessert lately that I'm trying to get away, so I chose the other option, which is National Rice Cake Day. Now, rice cake, what is a rice cake? I mean, there's a million variations or ideas you can do. You can do a Rice Krispie treat rice day, rice cake day. You can actually do rice cakes. You can actually do whatever you want. What I'm doing today is a rice cake, but with risotto. So it's kind of like my spin on rice cake. We're going to do little individual rice cakes made out of risotto, and a Mediterranean style risotto, because I'm going to put it over salad. I figure, you know, we're right smack dab in the middle of stuff your face season and gain 50 pounds. So we'll go with a little lighter today. A little lighter. I didn't say we're going super light, but a little lighter. We'll take our fried risotto cakes and we'll put them over a nice salad, okay? But I'm going to get started on my risotto. I have my 5 cups of chicken stock on a low simmer here, keeping that hot if you've never made risotto before. Everybody makes it, again, with this show and every other show. People have their own variations and their own way of doing it, so mine's not necessarily the be-all, end-all, or the classic, or whatever, but this is how I've learned to make it, and this is how I make it, so it's kind of easy for me, because I don't really have to follow a recipe, I just kind of know it by heart. 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a pan here, heating up. I'm going to take 2 shallots, chop them up really nice, mince them up really good, into my pan, and we're just going to cook our shallots first for a few minutes, just to kind of soften those up, alright? Okay, and then once you have that softened up, I'm going to add a couple minced up garlic cloves, maybe about 2 or 3, it depends on how garlicky you want your flavors to be. I mean, you can go heavier or lighter. Okay, so I'm just going to mix those in with my onions, but I'm only going to let those cook for about a minute, okay, because it's minced up so fine that I don't want my garlic to burn, okay? Next, you take your cup of arborio rice, okay, which is your risotto rice, and you put that in here, and you stir it around to coat it with the olive oil and the shallots and the garlic and everything, okay? And you're just going to kind of let those toast up for about a minute or 2 in your pan. Those are all nice and toasted up. Now you're going to deglaze your pan with about a cup of white wine. Okay. And you're just going to stir that together, and you're going to simmer this. Now you're always on a simmer here. You don't want a high heat. You definitely want a low simmer, because this is a slow and low process, or low and slow. Okay, you want to just let this kind of simmer the whole time. That's why you got your chicken stock hot in another pot, just simmering. It's because as you keep adding this to this, you can't add cold to this, because it's going to keep cooling down, taking time to heat up, cooling down. You constantly want it cooking the whole time, so by adding the hot stock, it continually keeps this cooking, okay? Cooks that rice cooking. Cooks that rice cooking. What the heck am I talking about? Alright, so we're just going to cook this, just to cook the alcohol down for a few minutes, okay? And then once you see that your wine is kind of cooked out and this is cooked down, now you're going to start the process, the long, slow process of adding your chicken stock to your risotto. So you just basically add a little bit at a time. You know, maybe if you're using a ladle or 2 at a time. Mix that all in. And then let it sit. When you see it starting, most of your liquid is out, add a little more. Liquid is out, add a little more, and you just keep doing that until you know, for about 20 minutes. You're going to go through all of your chicken stock or veggie stock or whatever stock you're using, okay? So you just keep doing that until you cook it down. You can, after about 15-20 minutes, you want to get a spoon and you want to taste the bite on your risotto to make sure that it's not like overcooked. You kind of want a little bit of a firmness to the risotto, to the rice, okay? But we're going to add some other stuff in as we're going along, but just not yet. I want this rice to cook first before I add my other flavoring ingredients that we're going to do for our Mediterranean risotto cakes today. Alrighty? So I'll be back when I'm going to add those things in, but just keep doing your low and slow process. Okay, I added a little more stock. I got about 1 or 2 additions of stock left, okay, that I know by eyeballing it. So what I'm going to do is, in the summertime, I make my own pesto, okay? And what I do is, I take my silicone muffin tin, and I put my pesto in there, and I freeze it, and then I get these nice little hockey pop looking things. But they're perfect. You keep them in a bag in your freezer, and whenever you want some pesto risotto, you take one of those out. About halfway through my cooking, I just drop it in here. It's still frozen. It's going to melt and thaw out, and then I'm just going to stir it in, and this beautiful pesto is going to just go all through my risotto. Okay, so I'm doing that part of it now, and then I got a couple more ingredients, but we're going to wait just a little bit longer for those. So I'm just going to stir in this pesto block until it's all melted down and mixed in. Alrighty? My pesto is all melted in, and now I have this beautiful smell. You can smell the basil, this beautiful pesto risotto. Okay, now to this I'm going to add, because I have just about a little bit left of my stock to cook this a little bit more. Okay, actually, you know what? Let me, what I told you to do at the beginning. Let me just taste to make sure there's still a little bit of a bite on my risotto. Yeah, almost there. So, what I'm going to do this now is add, I have a bunch of chopped up sun-dried tomatoes. I love sun-dried tomatoes. Just a nice small chop on that. And some Kalamata olives chopped up as well, okay? And I'm just going to stir those into here. And then add a little bit more of my stock. Because we're just about done with cooking our risotto, okay? So now you have this beautiful Mediterranean style with the pesto and the olives and the sun-dried tomato risotto, okay? Just a little more stock. All right, our risotto is done, cooked perfectly, okay? So the last thing, take it off the heat. You're going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter and about a half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, okay? Just to kind of thicken this up. Now, it doesn't matter. Normally, you want your risotto, if you're just eating your risotto fresh, hot, you want it loose. That is traditionally how it's done. But with this one, because we're making it into cakes, it doesn't really matter if it gets a little thicker. You know what I mean? If it's not a loose risotto. Because you're going to cool this down, and then we're going to shape it into cakes, and then we're actually going to put it in the freezer, our little cakes, for about a half hour just to really firm them up, because we're going to have to egg dip them and breadcrumb them to fry them. So we want to make sure that they're not all going to fall apart when we do that, okay? So that's why we're just going to put it in, once we make our cakes, we'll put it in the freezer for about a half hour just to firm them up, and we'll be good to go, okay? So I'm going to leave this on the stove to let this cool down completely, because that'll make it easier for us to work with to make our cakes, and I'll be back. So while I was finishing up my risotto, I got the idea. This is the silicone muffin pan that I make my pesto pucks in in the summertime. So I thought, why not press the risotto in that and put it in the freezer, so when it firms up, I could just pop them right out and have this nice little cake, okay? So now what you're going to do, here's the tricky part. You just don't want this to kind of fall apart as you're breading it. So it's kind of like a quick dunk in the egg, which sometimes that's where it falls apart. It's the same like kind of when you make arancini, the fried risotto balls. Same thing, when you're battering them, sometimes when you dip it in the egg, they start to fall apart, okay? They're not frozen solid, they're just chilled down so they're firm, okay? Right into our hot vegetable oil, okay? And we're just going to do that with all of these. Fry them on both sides. Get some paper towel ready, because you're going to want to put these on some paper towel just to drain any excess oil, okay? So I'm going to do all of these. See what I'm doing here? I'm just egg dip, crumb batter. I'm using a crumb mixture of both seasoned plain bread, seasoned Italian breadcrumbs and plain panko breadcrumbs. I mix the two together. There's enough flavor in these things with the olives and the sun-dried and the pesto and everything else that you don't really need to use, I don't think, flavored breadcrumbs, but I just put a little bit in just to give them a little bit more of a flavor on the breading, okay? So let me do these, and I'll be back when they're all plated up, and we'll make a little salad to sit these on top and have some lunch today. Alrighty, see you in a few. And there they are, look at that. You get a nice dozen of these risotto cakes, or rice cakes. It's rice cake day. So you gotta call them rice cakes, even though it's a risotto. But anyway, you know what I mean. So I took a little spring mix field greens, okay? Tossed it with a little olive oil and red wine vinegar, just very, very lightly, because I don't want this salad overpowering this. It's just kind of to accompany it. So just a tiny little bit of that with it. Keeping with our Mediterranean theme, I chopped up some feta cheese that we're going to put on our salad here, okay? And then one of my favorite things too, a little bit of this balsamic glaze, just to drizzle on the top. Gives you a little something something on your salad. I mean, look at that. Look how beautiful. Now, of course, you can add more stuff to your salad. If you want to add some regular tomatoes, if you want to add more of the sun-dried or even the Kalamata olives, whatever you want to do. I mean, you build your salad how you want. Again, I kind of want this to be the star today, so this is just kind of an accompaniment for it, okay? So I'm just going to take a couple. These are actually cool enough to handle. And I'm just going to take 2 of them, put them on top. What a beautiful little dinner or lunch or appetizer. If you're having company over, you could do smaller plates with just a little bit of the salad, and one of the cakes as an appetizer would be fantastic, okay? So let me get my fork and be right back. We got to test this one today. I'm all tongue-tied today because I can't wait to eat this. Okay, let's give this one a try today. Gonna cut right into that. Look at that beautiful risotto cake. Can you see that? Look at that. It's still hot and steaming inside. Beautiful. And we're gonna have that with some of our salad. Mmm. So good. The crunchiness of the outside with the salad. Great pesto flavor with the sun-dried and the olives on the inside. Oh my god, this is so good. And with the feta cheese. Mmm. This is rice cake day. This is how you do rice cakes. Man, oh man. I wish I could ship these to some of you people because they're just amazing. Alright, but I don't have to ship them. You can make these. So easy. Come on everybody. Get in there, try this. I want to see pictures in the comments. Alrighty, celebrate Rice Day. And remember, if you don't want to do rice cake day, you could do lemon cream pie. I just have like almost a whole Bavarian cream pie I still got to eat from the other day. So I can't keep making pies. I need food. See you tomorrow.